Welcome back to Lakeland, Florida. A bit of a fun one to end the day here today. Don, we saw in round 2, taking a loss at the hands of Emily and her Palkia. It's going to be fighting for his dignity, I think, in this one, as he plays our highest ranked junior, Alexis. So, how do we think Don's going to fare in this one?
I mean, let the record show, I think her team is terrifying. I'm not sure Dawn has a really easy out here, but Dawn is a good player, but I think Alexis is fearsome.
Yeah, I mean, she's undefeated and Don is not. That's the long and the short of it. It's
No, she's definitely got her confidence going into this round, and I think Dawn might have his back up against the wall here.
This could be very entertaining, I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
This has the potential for hilarity to ensue, so we'll see exactly how that one pans out. I think the players are just about ready. Should just make sure things are plugged in over there, make sure headsets are plugged into consoles, see if that one works. But, you know, Alexis has played against Masters already in this tournament.
Oh, she's taken down 2 of them.
Yeah, I mean,
actually,
one junior in her sibling, which, you know, once you establish dominance there, then you can start taking names against Masters. So, you know, interesting to see how it stacks up. I've always wondered what happens if you took the juniors world champion and then you played, like, a kind of regular Masters player, like a day one invite for Worlds. What would happen?
I mean, I think most of us remember Brendan Zhang, and he was scrimming against Masters players all the time. I guarantee we take Brendan Zhang at his peak and put him against your average Masters player, he beats him 95% of the time.
Yeah, I was one of them. He has beaten me in the past. The juniors are not a joke. You know, it's certainly interesting, and there's a lot of talk of how would Justin Miranda Radbourne do? Like, is that that's like the pinnacle of the juniors division right now? So we'll see how if that ever comes to the fore. But on a smaller scale, a small local scale, you know, we can see, can Don fight off his local juniors? I'm not sure. I mean,
she has the benefit of having no pressure in this match. If she wins or loses, she will still take first, whereas Don has to win. So I'm putting my chips on Alexis.
I mean, we'll see how it goes. That team you were talking about, we saw Don's earlier. Salazzle, Whimsicott, Tapu Lele, you know, the usual from Don, but I, you know, spend a little more time talking about Alexis' team. The first Groudon we've seen today, alongside an Eviltal, Venusaur, Stakataka, Incineroar, and Tapu Koko. So actually, you know, compared to the rest of the field that we've seen playing so far in Masters, yes, it's a small field. Yes, we are going to get repeats because some of these players talk and team build together, but at the end of the day, Alexis is one of the first people to bring a Groudon. You know, and we do get to see that interaction between Groudon and Kyogre.
Yep.
And see if Alexis can get into a position to say, well, never mind, I'll just win this one.
And she seems to know exactly what she wants. She locked in very quick. And Groudon Yveltal was sort of kind of like what Central Florida was known for back in the 2016 format, even when it wasn't so good. So it's nice to see some Florida players hearkening back to, like, what we did here.
Yeah, I mean, here we go. We got Stakataka and Groudon out right off the bat. Salazzle there, the Whimsicott. The Whimsicott we saw in Don's earlier game does carry Sunny Day. So, you know, the team is kind of set up to take advantage of the sun, which Groudon has bought naturally. But you have to wonder, you know, can Salazzle actually take advantage of it in a proper fashion? Obviously carries the Fake Out, so that could be important. But at the same time, both of these Pokemon are going to be very scary.
Yep, and we're going to see Dawn go for the taunt on Stakataka, potentially preventing it from Trick Room, and we're going to see a sun-boosted Flamethrower get thrown in that Groudon, taking advantage of the sun and the fact that Groudon cannot Primal in this format.
Yeah, I mean, the Sword Stance here could be a little bit problematic for this Groudon, especially if the Stakataka has tried to Trick Room and fail because of the taunt, so playing very, very smart. That Salazzle is going to be able to pick up that Groudon, that Whimsicott is going to be able to keep applying pressure, so, you know, Don maybe just panicking a little bit, I guess, and just going offensive with that Salazzle, not trying any fancy fake-out plays. Could be putting himself in a really strong position here. I think Alexis was actually banking on being able to set up that Trick Room and the Sword Stance, and then sweep from there. So Don may be able to shut down that strategy right from turn 1. But he does still have to close out the game. It's certainly not something that can be ignored.
Absolutely. I would have liked to see a potential Precipice Blades with a Gyro Ball to just clean Dawn's side of the field immediately, but Dawn kind of reads into that she wants to trick him, she sets it back, and he's going to put a lot of damage into the Stakataka, potentially predicting a Protect from Groudon?
Yeah, I mean, this Groudon didn't protect after its Sword Stance. Must have been worried about that. Groudon is going to Precipice Blades right now. The Tailwind did go up at the beginning of the turn. That's something key to note, but Salazzle's gone, and Whimsicott's bought exceptionally low. Just clinging on, even if it did have a Focus Sash, it wouldn't be relevant for this Rock Slide, which is going to connect, and it is going to be able to get a knockout there. So yeah, Don set up the Tailwind for his back two, but that has come at the cost of literally his front two lead Pokemon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Don loses his front two. They aren't exceptionally offensively minded, though, so I don't think he really minds that, especially since he has Tailwind to come in out of this. But Alexis is taking first blood. She's taking those two knockouts, she's giving herself momentum, and she's watching this Kyogre switch in with the potential to switch out her Groudon and bring back the Sun later.
Yeah, that could be really important. I mean, you don't want to give up the Sword Stance, but you also, you could just win the game purely off control of the weather.
Mm-hmm.
If you bring in something like the Evil Tal now, something that's known for being a little bit bulkier, something that carries items like the Assault Vest, that's one of those turns where it takes the hits.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're able to buy time from there. You don't want it to take a Moonblast, but at least if you have the Assault Vest, you're in a slightly better position to do that. The Stack Attacker, I think, is honestly done for in this matchup. Yep. Even if you manage to switch out, get the Sun back up, it's certainly going to be difficult. So wasting those turns on the Trick Room could be costly for Stack Attacker's run.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, so we're going to see the Groudon switch. I may have liked to see the Groudon Protect to burn another turn before switching out, but we're going to see Venusaur coming in, and Venusaur doesn't mind taking anything but a Psyshock.
Yeah, and it doesn't get caught with the Psyshock. Stack Attacker taking that one there, as Kyogre will full health, just Water Spout right away. Venusaur's going to take that very dangerously low. But the big thing here is that Stack Attack has been knocked out immediately. Now when Groudon comes back in, oh baby, we're in for a party right now, as Venusaur can then just start putting things to sleep, causing those problems, and that's going to be absolutely huge. That guaranteed Chlorophyll for the rest of the game, making up for that Tailwind that Don set up.
And if Alexis predicts correctly here, that Venusaur also just poses an offensive threat against Lele and Kyogre. It has super effective options against both of them, and it doesn't necessarily need to rely on Sleep Powder.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to get through essentially the end of this Tailwind. That Chlorophyll is going to give you kind of a method to fight back, though. Tapu Lele doesn't care, though. Will just go first. So Tapu Lele definitely pacey here, knocking out that Venusaur. And even with the Sun up, I mean, full health, this Groudon's already taken damage. Kyogre may just be able to tidy it up right here, leaving just one Pokemon. So Alexis probably needing to protect something there, and not being afforded that opportunity.
And I don't believe we've seen Alexis's fourth. If it's Yveltal, maybe there's a chance it muscles back, but Moonblast is going to hurt, and single target Water Spouts for sure. And instead we're going to see Incineroar, and I think that's probably just going to seal up the game for Don.
Yeah, Don's going to be able to just tidy this one up. I mean, Moonblasts, Water Spouts, even with the Sun, it's really not a problem. And I think bringing Yveltal could be actually really important in the back half of this game. This team's certainly been an interesting one. I do have to say, I have realized something a little bit late in this game. I did actually play Alexis's team online like a month ago.
Yeah.
Now I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, I know this team. I totally forgot that I took and tested this team. And I will say this matchup is rather unfun in general, especially Kyogre and Palkia. It's a little bit threatening. So Don will take that first game.
Yeah, I think it was Alexis's game to lose here. I think she positioned herself very well at first, but she needs to slow down a little bit and maybe play a little bit more defensively in those crucial turns.
Yeah, I mean, the other option is you just lead Groudon Venusaur. You just go for it. Like, you just
Absolutely.
Capitalize off that, and it's like, even if they start switching things in, they switch in the Kyogre, you've still got that turn to Sleep Powder on the way in, so it's certainly a unique one. I think that opening turn was a little bit ambitious against a player like Don. Certainly a hard one. But I'd just love to see Groudon Venusaur right now. Just go for it.
Yeah, that would be nice, except we saw the Whimsicott. We saw the Whimsicott carries Taunt. And if that Whimsicott comes in against Venusaur and Chlorophyll and it just goes, hey, bud, you can't use your special moves here, it's not going to be able to Sleep Powder right off
Yeah,
the bat.
I mean, the big thing there is you're then forced into Sludge Bombing and wasting time, but at least if the Whimsicott's down, you're not facing two offensive threats.
For sure.
Which certainly means your Groudon could just start wailing on the partner Pokemon. Big Precipice Blades, weaving in those Fire-type attacks, also key, so, I think it's a fairly safe lead.
Yep.
But it's just got to be executed well. That's the big concern.
It's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of pressure, and a juniors division player certainly asking the questions here. Whimsicott Salazzle back on the field.
Yeah,
See what we get.
I think it did its job on Donzan, and even though we saw the double knockout, it was fine. It's set up for the late game, and then his back two offensive Pokemon just cleaned up.
Yeah, I mean, Alexis doing something quite interesting here, not providing that Sun for Salazzle right away. So that may force the Whimsicott's hand a little bit. Like, if you want that damage output from Salazzle once again, you've got to set up the Sunny Day yourself, and that's a turn where you could just get caught with an attack. A spread attack from Yveltal to break a Focus Sash, and then a Gyro Ball from Stack Attacker would certainly get there.
It's likely that we just see the Salazzle instead focus on the Stack Attacker and not even worry about the Sun, just try and get some chip damage off with that Flamethrower. But we're going to see a Fake Out onto this Yveltal.
Yeah, I mean, that's perfectly fine, I think. Shut down the potential Trick Room. But if Stack Attacker attacks, Alexis has got more damage down to begin with. Stack Attacker does try and Trick Room again. So Alexis certainly a little bit off the pace in this one.
Yeah, not being able to get that Trick Room up certainly hurt her in Game 1, and now that Don knows the Trick Room can't come up, he's probably just going to Tailwind and set up his Pokemon.
Yeah, we'll see. There's no way to stop that Tailwind going up. I think Alexis just needs to kind of work through that a little bit better than in the last game, where, Don was actually able to bring in Pokemon to capitalize on it immediately. Not this time, though. Yveltal's going to start tanking those Moonblasts. Yeah,
we're going to see a super effective Moonblast come in here. It's not going to do a whole lot, followed by a Sludge Bomb, which also doesn't do a whole lot.
Ooh, hello. Oblivion Wing is a move on this type of Yveltal. It gets full amount of damage down to Whimsicott, save for that Focus Sash, which is going to keep it clinging on. But a lot of that damage that was just done is just healed right back up.
Yeah. We're seeing this bulky Yveltal normally carrying an Assault Vest when they're carrying that Oblivion Wing move. It allows them to tank and heal and be this general sort of annoyance that whittles down the opposing Pokemon.
Yeah, and the Stack Attacker's got a defense boost, so you do have to be kind of thoughtful about what you're bringing in here. I think the Kyogre is likely to come in at this juncture. Maybe try and... it's going to force you to Sludge Bomb with the Salazzle, which is annoying. But, you grab a Poison, that might help. And it's just got so much damage output available to it here that, the Stack Attacker's not going to enjoy that. And even Yveltal with the Assault Vest is going to struggle. Yeah,
and we did see that Dawn didn't get up the Tailwind this time, though it's likely that Alexis's team is more ready to bank off setting up Trick Room, and so her Pokemon are going to be a little bit slower.
Yeah, I mean, you don't think you need the Tailwind. It's just like a nice insurance policy to have against that Chlorophyll play. But, these are the opening two, so maybe an immediate switch to Groudon here would make this Yveltal a whole problem. You want to get a big water spout off. You're just not able to while the sun's up.
Yeah, I like this switch a lot. Almost sacrificing a bunch of health on Groudon in order to make sure that you get that defensive weather up.
Yeah, Kyogre is going to Thunder. I'm going to miss it because there's no rain as Yveltal back to the healing.
And not just that there's no rain, but Sun actually lowers Thunder's accuracy to 50%.
Yeah, there's no way you're going to be hitting that. I mean, even if you hit it, it's not same type attack bonus boosted, and you've got an Assault Vest to work through.
Yep. And so Yveltal's just going to hit Kyogre with an Oblivion Wing, kind of heal up some of that little chip damage it took from the Salazzle and keep itself relatively healthy. And that was a free switch-in for Groudon.
Yeah, and I think this Groudon's in a position now to just start Precipice Blading and just start putting that damage down over the course of the next few turns. Whatever comes in isn't going to appreciate it because, Alexis has essentially forced Don to save that Kyogre for later, which is certainly a bit of an ask. Yeah, it's going to come back in with the rain, but it's going to come back in with some of its health missing as well, which is not ideal.
Yeah, and if we see a double target here, which is very likely, we could see both of Don's Pokemon going down this turn.
Yeah, Yveltal's going to foul play right off the bat here, landing on that Tapu Lele, looking to capitalize actually on the special or the physical attack stat that Kyogre has naturally, which can punish it, but the Precipice Blades lands on both and knocks both of them out. So down to his last Pokemon, the Kyogre. He has not limited Alexis's options. There is a very realistic world where Alexis could just switch Groudon out and bring it back in to win the game.
It's not entirely necessary, I think, but it would be the safe play,
It's the
and I
ultimate
think
flex,
that's
though.
fair.
If you're a
It
junior-
is the ultimate flex.
If you're a junior, just be like, well, I have complete board control. See you later, Don. Like,
Yeah. And I think we saw in that last turn just how powerful Yveltal's Dark Aura is. Just because Tapu Lele doesn't have a very high attack stat, getting that additional boost to your Dark-type moves means you can get that meaningful chip damage to allow your Groudon to take extra KOs.
yeah, that was certainly important. Honestly, switching both of them out wouldn't be the worst idea. You just switch them both out, work on the Kyogre with your back to, and then switch them back in.
Yep.
Sun means you're not going to get caught by too much. So be curious to see. But I think Alexis is just going to be able to wrap this one up. It might take a turn or two. But, Don's Kyogre is basically being asked to do wholly too much.
Yeah, I think there's a world where maybe you... Okay, so we do see the Venusaur, and I think the Venusaur is a good switch here. Oh, and we're not going to see a switch out on the Groudon, which means both of these Pokemon are going to take a ton of damage.
Yeah, I mean, Venusaur's not going to appreciate that too much. I think saving the Groudon would have been a bit better for later.
Yeah.
But the Water Spout's already been weakened, and, you can't just Water Spout for the rest of the... I mean, you realistically can. But, we'll see if there's a way around that. Stack Attacker coming back in... I think you just needed to get the Groudon out, to be honest with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And Sakataka is not going to like taking this rain-boosted Water Spout, even at only about 80% health from Kyogre. I think this may be a position where you do just click the Water Spout button over and over again.
Yeah, Kyogre's going to keep going with it. Just got to keep Water Spouting while that rain is up. Sakataka and Venusaur dropped out completely by Water Spout here, so... Alexis's lack of switch of that Groudon absolutely punishing to begin with. If you'd have done that the previous time, switch out Groudon, switch to Stack Attacker, let it get knocked out, and then bring Groudon back in alongside that Venusaur, then it would have been great. But Yveltal's here on its own. This could get interesting. We did, of course, see that there was access to the Thunder from the Kyogre, but, depending on the item, we have to be a little bit cautious of that.
I likely think Kyogre probably just single-target Water Spouts Yveltal anyways.
Yeah.
It has a lot of health. Unless Yveltal runs something like Sucker Punch, it's going to go first. And, yeah, here we're going to see that Water Spout cleaning up the game.
Yeah, so Don let off the hook there, I think, by Alexis. Lack of switch there on the Groudon, maybe, overthinking a turn there. But Don does get out of that one with a 2-0 win. Even though Don obviously took the set, I don't think there's anything... for Alexis to be worried about in that kind of setup. Played pretty well, actually. Certainly from a junior division player, well over that standard for what we expect. So, we'll see. It's obviously going to be for the division.
Yeah.
Alexis moving on, getting those points, advancing towards the World Championships and such. But, overall, making Dom think and making Dom work is what I like to see from a junior player.
Absolutely.
So that's going to be it for Swiss rounds. 2 games remaining. We only have top 4 today, so 2 more games coming up today, and we'll be back with them as soon as they're ready.